Hey, Katie.
Hey, Tay.
How's it going?
Same old shit.
We just had to look back at when the last time we did a Spilling the Tea was, and it's been legitimately like a month. And so I feel like there's so much to talk about, but at the same time, like I'm definitely not going to review every single book that I've read. I'm only going to talk about the ones that I really liked.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
Or if I really didn't like it, I'll also talk about it. But I don't think there was many that I didn't like, actually, between the 10th of April and May 7th.
What's nice is, I haven't read as much as you, obviously.
I feel like you had a very productive April, though.
I did. I finished, guys.
She finished the series.
I finished another series. Like, I have now closed out 3 series.
This in April or just this year?
Actually, okay, let me backtrack.
I was going to say, because I know you finished.
2, I started and finished in April.
Okay.
What the fuck?
I guess.
And one I finally finished that has been, I used the Clifton Forge series as like a, I don't know, a little insert, if you will, when I had nothing to read. I also didn't like the 5th book on audio.
She didn't like Hidden Jester. That doesn't sound right.
Something with a
Fallen Jester.
Yeah, that.
I'm like, why was he hidden? What was he hiding from?
So who am I closing out?
I know.
Some series.
Well, you did the Grumpy Devil series.
I know.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute because I want to talk about that too. But so I'm just going to talk about this one to start because next week it comes out and I really want everybody to go out and get it and read it right away. It's The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. I received an arc.
You loved it.
I mean, if Elle Kennedy writes it, I will read it. I'm not going to say that I've loved everything that she's ever written, but I do love her college hockey romances. Specifically, I'll say I love Off Campus. I think Briar U is fine. The Risk is a 5-star book. All the other ones are like 3.
Yeah.
And I loved The Graham Effect. And the Dixon Rule kind of reminds me a lot of that. And that I remember when we did The Graham Effect, we talked about it on here, how it kind of started off like a little slow and then it like picks up. And it's like we always say like, oh, a romance book should never be like, it's a long book, but it doesn't feel that way because the way that she writes it. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like I think I might like it more than The Graham Effect.
Wow.
But The Graham Effect had more cameos. There are still cameos from like the off-campus Briar U boys. But because The Graham Effect was Gigi Graham, you got a lot more of the cameos.
Yeah.
You still get good cameos in the Dixon Rule, but like there's just not as many of them.
Okay.
But it was really good. It follows Shane and Diana. Diana is Gigi's best friend. Shane is on the team with Ryder. They are like mortal enemies because Shane's long-term ex-girlfriend breaks up with him and he goes on like a little bit of a slutty streak, which like all boys in like their early 20s do it. But he fools around with a few girls on the cheerleading squad that she's the captain of, and these girls like fall madly in love with him and he like breaks their hearts. And Diana's like, stop sleeping with girls on my team. And she kind of thinks that he's just like a playboy, like, but really he's not. And there's like obviously.
Is this an age gap?
No, she's a cheerleader. He's on the hockey team.
Oh, okay. I was like, if she's a coach and he's like sleeping with
players, she's the captain.
Oh, the captain. Okay,
yeah,
I was thinking coach. And I was like,
I said coach, but
and in the back of my mind, I'm like, Teresa, this actually sounds fucking disgusting. So
no, they're both the same. They're like in like their 20s. They're like, I think she's 20 and he's like 21.
I literally was envisioning like a 30-year-old coach and like a 30-year-old boy, like going after like these 18-year-old children. I was like, Teresa,
no, they're all college students.
Okay, thanks. Captain, not coach.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what I said.
You probably said it right, and my brain just didn't compute. Let's be honest.
So it turns into like forced proximity. He moves into the apartment next door to her. They live off campus, and they have to fake date because like he needs her help one night, kind of saving face with his ex, and then she needs help, kind of. Her ex is kind of stalking her and he moves into the same complex. So she's like, oh, I'm dating Shane kind of to get him off her back. But then like it gets like really deep at the end. Like I don't want to give anything away. But like it gets like really sad.
Really?
But there's no third act breakup. They like stay together through like the bad things that happen.
Okay.
It's really good.
Okay.
So I think that everybody should read it. Okay. I mean, I think if you like the Elle Kennedy, like funny, spicy, that, but then just beware, because I even saw people crying on TikTok who got the arc.
Okay.
I don't cry.
You're deterring me now from reading.
No, it's not. There's like a section that's sad, but it's not like the whole book is like typical hockey Elle Kennedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Katie's like, that's gonna go down.
That just got pushed down.
Well, first of all, she thinks I'm talking about pedophilia. She's like,
I literally was like in the back of my mind, like, am I hearing this correctly? Like you loved a book that is like a 30-year-old man preying on little
No,
girls?
I actually we will talk about but we'll talk about a coach athlete book in a little bit, which actually I probably should have warned you about this, but go on.
Do you want to talk about anything else?
Well, no, I do, but I figure we'll go back and forth so that you don't have to just hear me bullshit for an hour.
Let's just say how it is. Everyone wants to hear your voice just ricochet from the microphones into the ears of all the listeners out there.
I completely agree with you. I could do this podcast by myself.
So everyone knows that I'm obsessed with Julie Johnson. Poor Julie Johnson's probably like, this girl's annoying. But I'm obsessed with Julie Johnson. So I read a few of her. I've tried a few of our other books and they're good. But I read her Boston Love series, which is actually her most popular series. Mm-hmm. So I've read book 1 a long time ago. Typical Katie.
I feel like you read it right after you read
At Last Night. So it really wasn't that long ago, but it was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, why did I stop this series? This was good. I enjoyed it. It had like that fun, it's just a lighthearted read. There's spice happening, but like it's not completely on page. There is good build up and tension. But you're not getting like some serious, you're not in it with them, if you will. But they're just fun. And like there's always like a kidnapping, or they're like these girls and these guys somehow are like finding their way into situations where like the mob is out for them. Everything's obviously set in Boston. They're funny as shit. Like I have a good time with them. If you are just looking for a fun ride of a story where there's really good chemistry between characters, amazing banter, like funny, headstrong female main characters that like definitely get you a couple times. It almost gives me like, I don't want to say an Allie Hazelwood vibe, but you know how you can kind of like vibe with the female main characters because they're a little stubborn headed and like they have their own internal monologues going on. Same kind of characters in these stories, and I really enjoy them.
Okay.
So I read books 2 through 5. I think there's 5 in the series. Yes, 2 through 5. I think I liked the last one the best.
Okay, I was gonna say what.
Yeah, the last one I put in my comments may be my favorite of the series. They're just like solid. I guess some might call them like a 3.5 star. I think they sit at like a 3.75 to 4-star book. Like, I just think they're solid, good reads. Yeah. Like if you really don't know what to pick up and you want something light and fun, these are the books to pick them up. And I do think they're on KU. They are on KU. Okay. And they have really cute covers. So again, like if you're just, especially like now that it's getting warmer and nicer out, if you're going to the beach and you don't want something that like a funny story or just for the summer where you want to pay attention hardcore, but you just want like a lighthearted story, these books are it.
This is completely off topic, but because you kind of said that and you brought up Allie Hazelwood before, I saw that Cosmo like listed her new book coming out in June, Not in Love, as like a spicy, like or steamy beach read. And
you've read it.
I've read it and I loved it. It's my favorite Allie Hazelwood book so far, but it's definitely not a light story. And like to me, when I say something's like a beach read, I'm thinking of like an Elsie Silver, or you can even do like a Devney Perry,
Allie Hazelwood.
I'll say, or like Love Theoretically, anything that's like light and like not.
It's rainbow sunshines and happiness packed up in a book with maybe some dashes of spice.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking. I don't. Okay, so my friend, she was looking for like a sports romance, like book or like series to read. So I told her about Windy City series by Liz Tomford. So she started with Mile High. Like she really liked it, so she did Caught Up, and then so she did The Right Move. And then she was
they
reading.
Are on my bookshelf incorrectly if you're looking at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she did Caught Up. But she lives in Florida, but she was like laying by the pool and she was like, I started sobbing. She was like, what's Kai's son's name? Max?
Is it?
I don't know.
Something with an M, I thought.
Anyway, whatever his name is. Sorry, little kid. When he calls Miller mom for the first, she was like, I was just like laying outside sobbing. And like, I wouldn't consider Caught Up a beach read. Because I do think it deals with like a little bit, like, I don't know. For
anything that has some substance to it, I don't classify. Can you read at the beach?
Well, yes. Yeah, you could read anything
like,
at the beach.
To me, like when someone goes, I need a beach read, I'm thinking light, fluffy fun.
Yeah, or like small town romances, like things like that.
Easy, like 300 maybe less pages.
Yeah,
like 350 and less, like under like.
Right, like I'm not going to be like, oh, you know what's a great beach read, like ACOTAR. Like no, I feel like a fantasy book, like I need to be like indoors to read.
Indoors, like
I mean, like
maybe in the fall.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's better in the fall. I mean, when I first read, which actually May 10th, I think, is when I started ACOTAR.
I did ACOTAR in the spring, like.
I'm pretty sure May 10th is when I started ACOTAR in 2021. And then I read Throne of Glass in July. So like you can read it whenever, but I'm not considering those beach reads.
Correct.
That's the moral of the story.
So the moral of the story is Boston Love series. Yes. I think is a really good, fun. It's like by the pool, by the beach. If you're looking for light and fluffy, this is the series to pick up. Super fast. I'm like, again, like I have a 1-year-old at home. I run around like a lunatic. I work a full-time job, and like I could finish these in like a night or two if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's not even staying up to like 1 a.m. That's like normal bedtime. Like they're just quick, fun reads.
Yeah. The next book I want to talk about is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. So Yulin is the person who is, at this moment, she is doing the screenplay for Beach Read, the movie.
Okay.
So like that, like, so she's like I think this is her first book that she put out. So she's like technically like a writer for like movies and I think in TV shows. And the story follows Helen, who is an author who her YA like mystery like series or whatever it is gets picked up to be a TV show and she becomes a writer on the TV show. So it's like kind of like the opposite. But because like this is like kind of like what she does, it gives you like a really good like glimpse into like what like a writer's room for like a TV show or a movie like would look like. But she's from New Jersey. I always love when a book is like the characters are from New Jersey. Yes. I just think it's so funny because I'm like, are you also from New Jersey? Because I feel like the only people who write about New Jersey are people who are from New Jersey.
Yes. Or like you have some kind of history with New Jersey. Yeah. Where it's like you were here for a little bit, went to college here, but like.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
So, so it starts off, and this is not a spoiler at all. It literally happens in like the first chapter. So Helen's younger sister, like commits suicide by jumping in front of a car. It's like late at night. I think it's on like Route like 22 or something. And you find out like later on that she like was like on drugs and like just kind of like had like some troubles or whatever. But she jumps in front of a car. She dies. And the lead writer on her show is the guy from her high school who accidentally killed her sister, but he didn't kill her. She committed suicide. And like, it's like this whole thing where like Helen like knows she shouldn't like hate him, but it is like an enemies to lovers type thing because she does like, there's like a visceral hatred. Like she doesn't really blame him, but she does, but like she knows it was her sister, but it's very like.
Yeah, I can understand. Yes. I think even though you can understand, you can understand the reaction. Cause like, even though like, yes, he could have, it may have been in his control and it could have been any car, but like it just happened to be his car. Right. So like, yes, his car was the one who caught, but like she was I get it.
Yeah. So
I can understand.
Right. So, but like they have to like work together and Grant likes Helen. And he like wants to like make it easy like on her. Like it's also like you feel bad for Grant too, because like his entire like life was like completely changed because this person like
chose to jump
selfishly like wanted to kill herself, but like took somebody else. Like it's a sad story, but it's also like very funny and like it's also spicy. So it kind of has like every element and like they heal and like there's this like whole journey, even with like her parents. I don't know. I just really, really, really enjoyed it.
I know I'm gonna read it
after.
I don't really know when I'm gonna get to it, but it's gonna be soon. It's not like my like top couple like books that you need to start crossing.
Yeah, it's a really, really good. I made a TikTok about it, and like it's like the one little scene. People are like, oh my god, immediately downloading, and I was like, people, like, please check trigger warnings. Like, I just described like one spicy scene, but like it's not like that's.
It's not just
there's more going on, but it was really, really good.
Okay. I finished the Devil series.
By
Elizabeth O'Rourke. I read that fairly quickly for me. Like, I got through those.
You did.
I was very, like, those were really good books. The last book in the series is An Accidental Pregnancy, which, like, is not my favorite trope. I'm not opposed to it. But it's not, like, a trope that I, like, actively seek out. But I will say I really enjoyed this story.
I love
my review is Graham Tate, you could take me to Vegas to get married any day. Like, he just seems like a little fucking angel. I like that you kind of get glimpses back into like what was occurring that led up to like the marriage and like then her pregnancy. I also found her quite relatable, like in some instances. Like, she kind of like half-asses her way through like everything in life and like doesn't really apply herself, but also is a doctor. I don't know. I just thought it was a really good book.
I think it was my favorite. That or and I forget all the names of them, but The Lawyers.
Oh, The Lawyers was a good one too.
Yeah.
The Devil, no.
The Devil You Know.
The Devil in Deep Blue Sea.
No, Devil in Deep Blue Sea is
The Devil You Know.
Yeah, okay. I'll say Deep Blue Sea is when they're in Hawaii and it's ex-boyfriend's brother.
The first one was my favorite, but I will say I really liked each book.
Yeah.
Because like for its own reasons.
Yeah.
But this one, like, don't knock An Accidental Pregnancy if you're not the biggest fan. I think this was done so well.
Yes, agreed. I don't hate An Accidental Pregnancy. The only time I hate it is when it's only used as like a plot device to get a couple back together.
Yes.
When like the plot is the accidental pregnancy, like Out on a Limb.
Such a
good book because it's not like used as like a
mechanism
to get them back together.
This is very much like she wants really kind of like nothing to do with him. It's basically like, I guess I should tell him just because that's maybe like we kind of run in the same circle, so he's gonna like maybe put two and two together.
Yeah.
It's just funny because like he's in love with her the whole time, and she's just like, nah, I don't fit in my designer clothes anymore, and like I don't really like you, but I guess you could be here to help if you want to, but like you're gonna have to leave at some point in time, and like she's preparing to do this on her own, but like she needs to also learn to like grow up because she also has this complex because like every woman in her life has passed away at a very early age from like a disease or something that she's kind of convinced that like she will then pass too, so she might as well. Literally, she is taking YOLO to the extreme.
Yeah,
like,
she is.
She is living her life to the fullest, which like I kind of can't say I don't blame her, but like not being responsible, and it's kind of fun to watch her grow. That's what I like about this story also is you really do see both characters grow in their own ways where like once this party girl kind of like starts to realize what she has in Graham and like all this stuff, like she's kind of like, I don't need my friends doing drugs and like partying and sounding actually like fools all the time. Like, I want something different for myself. So it's, I don't know, it was a really enjoyable read. If you haven't read the series yet, like Teresa was obsessed with them a while ago. I've now finally joined the party. It's worth the pick up.
Honestly, all Katie had to do was go to Sweetgrass, see how beautiful the covers were for the special edition of The Deal with the Devil. Yeah. And she was like, oh, I guess I'll read it, and if I like it, then I'll buy the special edition.
It also helped that like I had just like DNF'd a book. I really wasn't feeling another book. So you were like, just read this. Like,
and Tori and Mary were also like, you need to read it.
Yeah.
So if anybody's looking for just like a fun, like spicy, like very quick series, like I think I said this before, I read all 4 in 3 days, like when I was sick one weekend. They're very quick, and like they're like the banter is Elizabeth O'Rourke can do banter almost, if not as well as Emily Henry.
I could not agree more.
I said it, and I mean it. And if whatever. Okay, wait. So we already talked about funny story. Oh, we can talk about Burnout. Did you finish it?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's you can talk about it. I'm almost done with it. I really like this.
Yes. No, Burnout. So it's Burnout by Rebecca Genchak. We both did the audio. Really, really good. Like, it's just like a very,
say less.
Very, very, it's like a very good audiobook. The narration is amazing. It's a very fun, spicy, flirty story. He is a motocross racer. He kind of has a bad attitude. He gets like dropped from his team, so he starts like practicing with like the freestyle team that one of his friends is on, and he kind of is like teamed up with Avery, who is on the college's gymnastics team, but she's also an Olympic hopeful. I think she went to the Olympics of like the previous Summer Olympics. She's coming back from a knee injury, and they team up basically. Like she's helping him improve on his like what's it called?
Tricks and landings. Thank you. And yeah.
And they like start off on like the wrong foot. She's like annoyed with him, but he's kind of like, she's hot, but like whatever. So it's like not enemies to lovers. It's like more like he likes her, but she thinks he's annoying.
Yeah.
And they're just like so cute.
And then they're like fun, and like then it kind of like I'm at the point right now where it has evolved to like friends with benefits.
Yes.
But I also like you get like, yes, is he a bad boy with tattoos? Sure, but like he also has like an insane like background he's coming from. Yes. Like he's the guardian to like his younger brothers. Like his brothers are all raising each other together, and their younger siblings.
Yes.
Like
their mother like passes away, and the dad just kind of like leaves them. So Knox becomes like the legal guardian to the youngest brother. But yeah, like all of the brothers are basically like raising each other.
It's cute. Yeah. Like I'm really, and again, like I haven't been in like one of those like college-y moods for like a romance read. Like I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
It does give Elle Kennedy vibes.
It does. And I've heard that. So I read one Rebecca Jenchek college hockey romance, which I didn't think I'd ever read anything by her. And then I went on Goodreads today actually. And I was like, oh, like last year I did audio. It's called like Secret Puck. And I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. I don't ask me what it's about now, but I liked it at the time. And I was talking to somebody recently and they were like, you have to read her college hockey series. So I guess I will, but probably I might wait till the fall.
There you go.
I just feel like I have a lot of other things going on right now.
Okay. I'm going to skip over Tin Queen. We've talked about Clifton Forge time. There's no point. So I read, obviously again, like witchy romances are like my thing. There seems to be quite a few coming out. I'm a happy gal. Coming out. I picked out 2 today from Barnes & Noble. I just got an arc for another one, which I'm really excited to start tonight. But I read An Enchanting Case of Spirits. Now, if you like ghost vibe stories, if you like a little bit of a mystery, like just fun girlfriend banter, like just an all-around good story, let me just preface, there is a romance. It's a subplot, people. There is no spice. And I hate when people like write a book off because of it, because this was such a fucking fun read. Like this was her debut album. Her debut. Her debut novel. Someone punch me. It's definitely cozy. It's paranormal. Like, so this one girl lost her husband 2 years ago. She's turning 40. She has an older daughter, and her 2 best friends are like, girl, you have been trying to recover and get back to normal for the past 2 years. However, you've really given your like life up. Like she's still like putting herself together and like carrying on day by day, but like she gave up her job. She gave up so much stuff just to kind of like help get herself through the grief. She's having a really tough time with it. Yeah. So her best friends come over and they're like, we need to get the fuck out of this house. Like, let's go drinking. Let's go do something. And every time they always ask to do something, she gets turned in. Like she turns them down. She's like, nah, you guys go. Like, I'm good. Yeah. So like, why don't we go see a medium? Because like, it's almost like she wants closure. There was a car accident. She doesn't really remember much about it. Okay. She remembers seeing something red, but then like the next minute she knows like she's alive and her husband's not. So they go to a medium, aka like they're in the back of a fucking nail salon with God only knows who. Yeah. And when the medium and her kind of connect, like there's like a moment that happens where they're kind of like, what just happened between us? Like they hear a voice. It's kind of funny. One of her friends is like, you guys are lying. The other one's like, what the fuck's going on down? Like she's like this like big believer. She's like, whoa, are we like connecting with the afterlife? Like it's just fun, cute stuff. Come to find out, like the touch awakens the female main character's like medium powers. Okay. Like, so she's actually able to communicate. So like all of a sudden she goes home and like a fucking ghost is in her living room. And like now she has to kind of help figure out why he's still lingering. However, it scares the fucking bejesus out of her because she truly thinks there's someone in her house. So she runs out of her house, goes next door. A next door neighbor is a cop. Middle of the night, like he goes to check it out. However, when she describes this guy, like she doesn't know he's a ghost yet. She describes a guy that passed away a year ago, like to the T. So he's like, maybe someone like told you this stuff. Like they really try to use like common sense to like talk through the storyline, which is kind of nice because I know there's like some non-believers out there. Obviously, you're reading this if you are into that shit. It's just really cute. And again, like you watch her kind of go through this process. Even like her daughter helps her in like a few scenes. Like we get it, you're allowed to grieve, and like we understand we all miss like dad, but like you for you need to live for you. Like it's time that like you carry on. So she ends up like helping out these ghosts with like help of her friends. They solve a mystery. Like they get into some serious trouble. Like the cops like, please stop digging, and they're like, yeah. And then like here they are like in the middle of like all this turmoil.
Yeah.
It's just like it reminds me of like something that the two of us would fucking do.
Yeah.
And like if you have a good group girlfriends, you would like it. So like don't knock it just because it's not
sometimes
spicy.
You just need a book about like female friendship and not about like, oh my god, who's the cute boy.
Yeah, and just like I don't know, it was a really enjoyable read. I very much enjoyed it. Claire, if you're listening to this, you should pick it up. It's right up your alley. But I thought it was a really fun read.
I added it. So
it was, if you, again, for like someone like you, like maybe if you have nothing to read and it's a rainy day, you can bang this out.
Sometimes like I literally will just like download something on my Kindle and then I'll have like nothing to read and I'll just open my Kindle and pick a random book. And if I read 30 pages I don't like it, then I send it back to KU and I move on to something different.
Exactly.
I did that to 2 books last week.
It took me about 30 pages to even like get into it because I was like, what is this? And I was like, I'm enjoying myself here. Like,
no, I got 20% into 2 different books last week and I was like, nah.
Sometimes.
And then I started Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. Okay, so actually, I know I told Katie to read this and I do still think you should read it, but I want to preface this by saying that she is a college runner, long distance runner.
Okay.
What's it called? Cross country?
It can be cross country, yes.
Okay, I think that's what it is. And he is the coach, but he's like 26. Okay. So it's not like a 40-year-old coach and like a 20-year-old girl. Okay. But like the coach thing did bother me a little bit because I don't know, like
it's still a little weird to me. But
I think the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't like age gap. I don't like a lot of taboo stuff because I think about it like in like, oh, if this was real, if this 26-year-old coach was like fooling around with this 20-year-old athlete, like I'd be like, that is a problem. And let's put him in jail. I mean, not put him in jail. Obviously, that's a joke, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. He tries to fight it. He's like, why am I feeling this way? Like, no, we cannot do this. And then then they kiss and he's like, no, I can't kiss you. He also like doesn't want to be a coach. He just like, his dad died. So he's a free solo climber.
Okay. Scary as fuck.
Yeah, but then his dad dies, so he has to like move home and take over the family farm, which is like not doing well at all. And to like make extra money and stuff, he like helps coach at the college. Okay. So
he's like not even a head coach. He's like an assistant adjunct.
He's technically like the woman's head coach, but like he's he's like hired by like the family friend who coaches the men's team. And he's like, just, do this, whatever. But he's like, basically, he's like, I don't care. Like, I'll quit. Like, I don't need to coach.
Okay.
And then, whatever. And then I read the other book, which is his brother. And that's Drowning Erin. And I liked Drowning Erin more. But I think that you'll like Waking Olivia more because Drowning Erin is so angsty. Okay, so you meet Erin in Waking Olivia. She's on the cross country team or whatever. She's like just like kind of does it for fun. Like she's not very good, but she's just like a funny like character, whatever. And she meets oh my god, what is his name? Brendan. I was gonna call him Ben. I'm like, that's not right. She meets Brendan through Olivia and Will, and he like hates her because like he likes her.
Okay.
So you're getting like flashbacks. A lot of his POVs are flashbacks.
Okay.
And you don't like, he keeps being like, I can't be somebody's boyfriend. Like this is now present tense. It's like this like whole thing. And then you find out like why he thinks that he like shouldn't be with her and he's like afraid he's gonna like ruin her. It is like so angsty at the end that I was just like wanting to like murder them, but like I enjoyed it. So I'm like very curious.
I'll have to keep you posted. So I'm done going over my books, but I'm going to talk about what I'm going to read next.
Oh, I have one book I really need to talk about.
That's fine. We can get to you in 2 seconds. But like, I'm trying to put on my like priority list because we do have a lot of these interviews coming up. So you obviously have to read books to interview authors. Otherwise, you defeat the fucking purpose.
Yes.
So like, I'm trying to like schedule in my reads in between these. So I will say, so I just got approved for an ARC. It's called The Best Hex Ever. You all need to look at this fucking cover. I showed Teresa today. It is fucking beautiful.
It is really, really nice.
It is so pretty. So it comes out October 1st. It's 320 pages. It's by Nadia El Fassi. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. She's a kitchen witch. And I hear it's spicy. I don't really know much other than like, if she's a kitchen witch, the cover is beautiful, and it's a spicy romance, which like say less. So
say less.
I do believe like is it pastry chef? Okay, so it is in Europe. I don't know. It just sounds really good. There's like palm readings or something that happens at like midnight on Halloween. Like there's danger, there's curses. Like
it's right up Katie's alley.
You don't have to twist my arm too hard to read this. Like I want to read that because I did get approved for the NetGalley ARC.
Yeah.
But then after that, like I do have to read for the Amber Nicole interview.
Yes.
But I do have those like next in my lineup.
Yes.
On top of my other witchy
they were very quick, easy reads. I read them back-to-back days. Like actually Waking Olivia, I started at 7 p.m. and I stayed up till 1 to finish. And then the next morning I woke up and I read Drowning Erin.
That's so funny.
So like very quick, very like, but the whole time like I was like my jaw was clenching. And I was talking to Tori about it because Tori, she was the one, yeah. And I was talking to her about it. I was like, okay, like I'll put them on. I like download them on KU, and I was like, when I get to them, I'll get to them. And then I was like, oh my god, I finished these in like less than 24 hours, 2 books. But that's what retirement is, and that's what I'm calling my disability.
Retirement is.
My disability is retirement. No, I wanted
temporary retirement.
Yeah, I wanted to just briefly, because Katie hasn't read it yet, but I feel like people might care that I finished Zodiac Academy.
You can tell us your thoughts.
No, I mean I've shared my thoughts.
Yes.
You look great in your jersey, babe.
Cute.
Our husbands are going to play softball.
What colors they represent. What did I say, John's?
Oh, I was like, is he colorblind? He doesn't know it's yellow. Anyway, okay, so I started and finished it, obviously. I was hesitant, but I also wanted to read it before I like heard anybody else's opinions, because I don't want to go in like letting somebody else's opinions affect
I agree.
my thoughts on it. And we loved 1 through 7, and when we read 8, we liked 8. Like we had we really liked 8.
Yes.
I think our biggest issue is that we were on the ARC team, and like not just Zodiac Academy, we were on the Twisted Sisters ARC team. And we're not a huge fan of some of their other things.
It's very copy-paste.
Yeah. So yes. So we had to, and like in order to stay on the ARC team, you have to read every single thing that they put out. And then you have to review it.
And every single thing is long.
And every single thing is not always for us. Anyway, we tried. And then we got to the Beyond the Veil. And that book was fucking bad. I never finished it. I got to 50% and DNF'd.
I DNF'd.
I think you DNF'd like very early.
Because I wasn't on the ARC team. Was I on the ARC team for Beyond the Veil? Yeah.
Yeah. And
what was the one like that was the Aladdin one?
That one was bad too.
That was fucking terrible.
A Game of Malice and Greed.
And I think it had such potential, but then she started to like try to make it fun. They tried to make it funny when I don't think that book needed to be funny.
No. And I feel like you go back and so Academy is funny, and yes, like there's always like a comedic aspect to their books, which is what I like that. But
I think
they leaned too far into the comedic, and it was like, what's the fucking plot here? And like, these characters have no depth to them. Anyway, after Beyond the Veil, I was like, I'm done with them. And I put a really bad taste in my mouth going into ZA9, which I think that if we weren't on the team and we didn't have to read anything else, we wouldn't have felt so like meep about ZA9. I think we would have been really excited for it. So I tried to go in with an open mind. But I gave it like 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite. I think they brought it back, which I probably should have rated it higher, but I think they brought it back to what we originally liked about ZA. Again, I think it is a little bit too long, but they shortened a lot of the chapters. I think like the longest chapter was like 25 minutes, which like isn't crazy for a fantasy book. The Geraldine chapters were very few and far between and like not long. There should have been less, but that's fine. They didn't really add like just like random people for the sake of it. Spoiler alert, you get like one washer chapter, but he dies.
Oh my god, no way. Oh my god, you guys look so cute.
Wait, look at you guys. Sorry, our husband just walked in there in their cute little jerseys.
Oh my god. You're gonna have such a fan club tonight, guys.
See you later, losers.
I think they're representing me because my 2 last names are being worn on their jerseys.
Or me, because those are both of my last names. Both of my married names. If you're a Lance Darcy fan, you'll really like it. They do those characters complete justice. Like, I want to know which sister writes them because like she should just kick the other sister out. Tori pissed me off in book 8 like so much. Tori and Darius were so enjoyable in book 9. Like,
it's, you know what, it's really nice to hear that they heard.
I think that
you can't take every single criticism or feedback or opinion and like change things, but I think they took the biggest items, and they made adjustments, which I think speaks volumes when you're an author.
Even like the one of our issues with ZA8 was like Seth and Caleb, how fucking annoying. It is like cleared up very early on. Like Seth is still like, I don't know, blah blah blah, and then like I think Lance is like, just fucking who cares. And then he just like admits his feelings to Caleb, and they're like, okay, we're together. Like it's all of that gets like whatever. My biggest issue is that so they introduced like these like 2 new villains at the end of book 8. Mm-hmm. Tharix, which is technically Darius's brother, and like the not shadow baby of like Lionel and Lavinia, and then whatever his fucking name is with the C, the star, Clydenius, they call him. Tharix is definitely getting a spin-off book. I liked his character a lot, actually. He's kind of like he's very just like monotone and like kind of like I liked him. But like he ended up being a non-issue because like he's just kind of like, why the fuck am I even here? Like the entire book. You know what I mean? Like he's very like laid back and just kind of like he's like, I don't like my dad. I don't like my mom. Like, I don't really fight for either side. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, kind of shit. And he's also like, why the fuck am I here? Like, I was born and now all of a sudden I'm an adult. I don't really even know what the world is. Like, I don't know. I thought he was funny. And Clyde, like, they get rid of fairly easy. Like, he's not like, he's really like becomes like a non-issue. I think that they like bit off more they could chew, and then they kind of had to like do away with things. Which is what we said at the end. We were like, why are they introducing more whatever? So I give it a 3.5 star. Like, I think it was like cute and fine. If you like ZA, I think you should read it.
I'm gonna listen to it. Yeah. Once I finish Burnout, I have that saved as my next listen.
I think you will enjoy it.
I'm sure I will. I think out of each of us, like I think I've had more of the more vocal aspect of like my dislike of ZA, like what has turned with the storyline and everything like that. But I will say, in all of my bark, I'm very much going to go in with an open mind, because you're right. Like, we were obsessed with 1 through 7, still am. Yeah. 8, I enjoyed. I just had like, I think
we were annoyed because we were like, there was a plot progression.
Also, like, I think when you were like, obsession with 1 through 7, you took those funny Geraldine moments and turned them into more, which like it didn't go the right way. No. So like, you kind of ruined a character that like, I loved her little comments and like would highlight them, and it turned into like, I don't even fucking read this chapter.
No, I mean, I still skimmed over them in this book. They were shorter and like things were happening, so you kind of have to skim. You can't like just completely skip. Yeah. But they definitely, I think, listened to people being like, we don't need. Also, in book 8, she was so, remember, like, she just kept, like, she would talk over everybody. Oh my God, it was so annoying. I couldn't stand her. I wanted her to die. I actually did want her to die. I wanted her to die in this book, too. I feel like they should have killed her. Okay. Spoiler alert, they didn't.
Cherry and her bagalisms are so
and the epilogues are so good, which is, they always write amazing.
The sisters do an amazing job with their epilogues. Yeah. 110%. Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. I will be listening to that next. Because the Bordeaux do a phenomenal job.
Yes. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
You'll all hear it here.
Oh, yeah. You'll trust me, Katie will not hold back.
I will not hold back. All right. Talked about the arc. 2 other witchy books I picked up, just in case anyone cares and wants to read witchy books. Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. Sounds really fucking cute. Don't know anything else about it besides that. I think it's spicy. And then I picked up one other today.
Go look.
These covers are also delicious. Old Flames and New Fortunes. Another Sarah. Sarah Hogel.
Okay, I think I've read a Sarah Hogel.
She's like a flower witch.
I'm a flower witch.
They had decent ratings so far on Goodreads. Like high 3s.
Wait, I want to see. I have to search Sarah
Good flop.
Hogel.
And I think her and Sarah Adler are friends because they both give each other reviews. Sarah Adler is also the author of Mrs. Nash's Ashes, which is a very highly rated book. I bought that at Barnes & Noble the other day.
Sarah Hogel, You Deserve Each Other. She's like silly.
Okay.
It was good.
You know what?
I liked You Deserve Each Other. Okay. I did the audio. I think I wouldn't have liked it if I read it because like the characters are like a lot, but the audio is good. So I think you'll like that.
Cool.
If it's like the same kind of writing style.
I'm excited. So I'll keep you guys posted. You know I'm always on a hunt for a witchy read to prep for the spooky season that we are halfway to.
You're never not in spooky season though.
I'm never not.
She's
in spooky
like
season.
It could be like November and she's like I'm prepping for next year's spooky season. November 1st. So I'm starting a new witchy book to prepare for next October.
I was actually thinking about it because, like, I mean, just like your hockey books, like if you actually put like spreads together,
yeah,
there's going to be quite a few slides.
Yeah.
Like I put something together like that last August, and now I'm like looking at like my list, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna break this up. Like I'm gonna have to like find a way to like post about all these because like there's a lot.
Yeah, there's like too many.
I know. I'm gonna have to like start weeding some out, or like on some days, like here's your like fall books, like here's this, here's that. Like I can't do like a whole post about it because it's like overwhelming.
Too many slides.
Yes.
So next week we have Morgan Elizabeth on to talk about her newest release, which is All My Love. And then the following week, sorry, we had to update our calendar. The following week is another Spilling the Tea. We had to postpone our Avery Keelan episode because she had to postpone the release of her book. So we will have her on, but at a different date, TBD. And then we are going to be talking about Catching Feelings by Maren Moore at the end of the month. Mm-hmm. And we will be having Amber Nicole, the author of the Book of Azrael series. So the new book is coming out at the end of May. Sorry, let me get the exact date. I think it's the 28th.
I was going to say, I think it's the 28th.
The Dawn of the Cursed Queen. And yes, it's May 28th. So we'll be talking to her this month, but we'll be posting it after release. So sometime in June. Stay tuned. And then we will also, sometime in June, just like letting you guys know so that you get your reading going, we'll be having Tara DeWitt on to talk about Savor It, which that comes out May 21st.
And you need to read this book.
If you take one bit of advice from us from this entire podcast, one recommendation, it is to pre-order Savor It, or to just go to the store and buy it on the 21st.
Just do something to go get it for yourself. And like you will not be disappointed.
No. And I know that we suck Tara's dick a lot on this podcast. If we didn't like it, we would never recommend it.
We would shut up about it. We'd still support her, but you wouldn't hear much about it.
Listen, Funny Feelings will always hold a dear place in my heart. I love everything I've read by her, but like this is probably like her best book.
I couldn't agree more. The writing is phenomenal. I think people would they're going to love the two characters.
Yes.
And like the storyline is there. Like it's so very like visual in your mind when you're reading about it too. I don't know. Just do yourself a fucking you're doing a disservice to yourself if you do not go get this and read it. Do yourself the service of reading it.
And if you were a fan of Funny Story or just for the summer, then I think you will really, 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 really enjoy Savor It.
I do agree with that comment.
It's nice and it's light and it's fun, but it's also like deeper and there's like the characters are more complex. It's just a very, 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 very good book.
Like to the point where like we're gonna keep harping on it because again we're gonna.
I just really want everybody to read it because we're gonna reread it soon. But like,
so we haven't multiple times where like if we read a book in the past and we're interviewing an author, sometimes like an easy skim is like more than enough to get us through. Like you don't need to do much. We are doing full on rereads again.
Yes,
because of how fucking good this book was.
And we read this I think back in like September or October.
Yeah.
So we haven't been able to really talk to anybody about it
besides each other
and like Mary. And so like I need everybody to read it because like I want to like DM people like, oh my god, what did you think? Yes. And like Fisher and Sage. And the goose, Gary, right? Gary the goose. Oh my God.
Everything about this book is fucking delectable.
It's just so good. But yeah,
and that is that.
That is that. So anyway, Morgan Elizabeth next week, spilling the tea. We're going to not be interviewing, but just discussing Catching Feelings by Maren Moore. And then stay tuned for May. We're doing Amber Nicole and Tara DeWitt. But that's
in June, she means.
In June. Sorry. I'm retired now. You guys know this. Anyway, Katie.